Gun control, a subject that has been sweeping the nation for years now, is not only affecting the government but also the society, economy, and scientists as all look for a solution regarding their fields. Over the years, gun violence has begun to stir conflict amongst American citizens. The number of school shootings that are seen around the U.S. has been on the rise, and even children are starting to protest against the Second Amendment, which is protecting American citizens' rights to keep and bear arms. Which begs the question, how would implementing stricter gun regulations affect the freedom and safety of U.S. citizens? Following this question, we argue, to ensure one's safety, there should be more stringent gun laws put in place, even if it impedes on an American citizen's freedoms. Gun control, as defined by the dictionary, is the regulation of the sale and use of firearms. At a time when safety was a major concern, weapons were very important to one's survival. Now that times have changed, there are still crimes and actions that continue to alarm. But many of these horrible things come about because of one weapon, guns. However, as you can see in this graph, crime rates have started to decline since the 1990s as more gun reforms are being introduced. An idea that was brought up by several associate professors at DePaul in an article is libertarianism. Their thoughts regarding guns are that they are born with certain rights, both natural and legal, that are allowed to be followed. One of these laws is the ability to utilize one's property. If a citizen has bought a gun, it becomes their property. With these natural rights, American citizens should thus be able to carry their weapon and do with it as they please, within reason. Granted, guns could be used for safety reasons and make people feel safer in their own homes or walking in a dangerous area, but there are always accidents. While it is in one's natural rights to own a gun, it doesn't necessarily mean that you should and that it dampens the dangers. If anything, this allows mass shooters to own a gun, leading to mass shootings. Elaborated more on that.
2019 was a crucial year in the fight for stricter gun regulations. By doing simple math, one can tell that there were 61 more mass shootings than days last year. Though there was a decrease in violent crime, there is an increase in gun violence. As Dasha states before, guns are a right for American citizens, but is ultimately a measure of safety. In the graph above, it shows the amount of school shootings from 1960 to February 2018. It is obviously a dramatic increase. According to NPR, in addition to fire and earthquake drills with practice lockdowns, it has come to the point where guns are being normalized in schools. Does this ultimately increase the fear in students? That is a question that cannot be answered. This leads to my solution of enforcing stricter gun laws in public places. But there are always people who are sure enough going to be against this idea. For example, John Burnett, an NPR news correspondent, found that 56% of respondents said that they feel safer if more Americans could get permits to carry concealed handguns. But we also have to consider the fact that it is unknown how many people responded to this survey. Riley will be able to further elaborate on this idea. But for now, these people will affect the outcome. Gun permits allow for U.S. citizens to bear arms on their person. For some, this indicates more fear with the idea that a gun could be very close by. The cost to also implement this idea is a worry because it is not known where the money will come from, which Alyssa will be further explaining.
The government currently spends a significantly smaller amount on deaths resulting from gun violence than many other issues as shown on the graph. This is the main causation for unsuccessfulness in solutions attempted by the United States. Take gun-free zones, for example. They are the most popular place for mass shootings, taking up 94% of them. This is due to the target placed on the singular or few security officers, if any, in these zones. This makes security personnel alone and vulnerable, being the only people keeping the entire zone safe. If more funding was invested within these zones, security could be increased by adding more cameras, security personnel, or both. This logic can be applied to many other potential solutions, showing that many of the solutions aren't necessarily unsuccessful, just inadequately funded.
Guns have a large effect on people psychologically as well as people with mental illnesses. David M. Perry, a writer on healthcare access, explains the biggest gun-related risk for people with mental illness isn't murder, it's suicide. The best research consistently emphasizes the presence of mental illness is not a strong predictor of violence against others. It's important to focus on how those with mental illnesses do not show a link towards others, contrary to common belief. Rather, they are posing a threat between those suffering from mental illness and themselves. Psychiatrist Stephen H. Moffitt also explains there's a potential PTSD of those not killed but injured by guns, and there's a potential PTSD of those witnessing the gun violence so common in public places. Gun-related PTSD is such a serious issue that could be somewhat avoided if stricter gun regulations could be put in place, and these stricter gun regulations could drop suicide rates. Some people may be wondering if restricting freedoms is worth the effect on a smaller part of the population. But Michael R. Ulrich explains, fundamental rights have been restricted in the name of public health with some regularity when there's an identifiable risk to public safety sufficient enough for state action. And as proven by previous statements, there is an identifiable risk, small now, but on the rise. On the other hand, similar to the safety people feel with guns explained by Maddie, Dean Burnett explains, if you feel small or weak, dealing with others can induce a great deal of social anxiety. A gun would provide at least one easy way where you can have an advantage over them, even if this reasoning only occurs on a subconscious level. While this is a valid point, this graph shows the opposite. As shown by the graph, a majority of people felt less safe within the presence of guns, with only Republicans saying the presence of guns made them feel safer, and even the number of those who do and the number of those who don't are fairly similar. A solution to solve these issues, the issues stated before, would be for the government to conduct more research. As Alyssa stated before, there's very little funding for gun research, but this research could be very helpful. By conducting more research, the government would hopefully be able to find a true positive or negative effect of guns on people psychologically, and based on this research, make further decisions. While this research could greatly contribute to gun reform, gun-related research can be inconclusive, showing mostly an even split of effects. It can be conducted by someone with a bias towards one side who may read the research differently than someone with a different view, and it can be very expensive for both the researchers and for the equipment needed.